Picture this. You're bored, you decide to play a little Roblox, and while you're scrolling through the home page, you see a little game called Bite by Night. Now, you've seen clips of it on TikTok or Instagram, or maybe even seen a YouTube video on it or two, and you decide, you know what, I'm gonna give this game a try. But when you load in, your games kind of go a little something like this. Oh no, please don't get me, Mr. Killer, please don't get me. Man, I'm leaving this game and I'm never playing it again. This game is terrible, it's garbage, and it sucks. I'm gonna go play a peak game better than any other game in the world. Alright, let's do this thing, man. Alright, let's get this guy's out. He wants his cut like a normal 4 slice. Alright, hey, peep the pizza, my guy. What you think? This is not the right guy. Oh my god. This is, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm fired, aren't I? I'm gonna get fired. Now look, whether it's, oh, my teammates are selling my games, or, oh, this game's killer-sided, or, oh, the hitboxes are broken. I get it. We all have our excuses. But instead of sitting there and letting that happen every match, I'm gonna break down the game and tell you how it actually works, so that you can stop getting destroyed and actually understand what you're doing. And who knows, maybe you'll even escape a couple games. Now, look, I'm just a guy with a purple crown and a slightly crooked bow tie, but I know enough to get the job done. So this is going to be your complete Bite by Night guide, Survivors Edition. And trust me, you're probably doing at least one thing wrong. So, let's go ahead and fix that. So, you've just loaded in, and you're probably wondering, what do I do now? Do I open the shop? See if I can spend all my Robux and pay to win this game? Do I leave and go play something else? No, you don't do any of that. The very first thing that any player should do when they're new to Bite by Night is go over to their settings and look for these 3 things. Enable hitboxes, center stamina bar, and show barriers. These 3 settings are the best settings that you can turn on in the game because they are massive quality of life improvements and will just make your entire experience a whole lot better. Another thing I recommend doing is turning your graphics all the way down. Now you might be wondering, won't that make my game look bad? And I'm going to be honest with you, yes, your game will look terrible. However, there is a massive upside to this. Your game will be significantly brighter than if you were to have it on max graphics. As you can see, this is the game on max graphics, and this is the game on low graphics. The game looks bad, but the brightness is so high that it is honestly, in my opinion, better playing with bad graphics and high brightness than good graphics and low brightness. So, now that you have all that stuff done, let's go ahead and talk about all of the different roles that you can play. There are 4 roles in Bite by Night when it comes to playing Survivor, and if people play the roles correctly, the game becomes way easier. But if they don't, yeah, you've probably already seen how that goes. Anyway, let's go ahead and start with the first role, the Customer. Now, Customer is the default role that every player starts off with when they first start playing Bite by Night. It has 100 HP and stamina, and they have 2 main abilities, Drink and Pizza. Pizza heals 20% of your lost HP. Mind that, 20% of your lost HP, not your current HP, your lost HP. Now, Drink gives you a short speed boost, but it does slow you down when it ends, so it's basically like a temporary escape with a penalty after. Now, the main issue with this role is that it's very self-focused. You can survive longer, but you're not really helping your team to win with your abilities. So it's fine for starting out, but just don't rely on it long term, and you should really be mainly focusing objectives and saving up to buy one of the other roles. Now, moving on to the second role in the game, and which is my personal favorite role in the game, which is the Medic. Now, Medics have 90 HP, which makes them the weakest role in the game health-wise. However, they do make up for it by keeping everyone else alive. Now, they have 2 main abilities as well, which are Heal and Self-Heal. So Heal restores 5 HP every 2 seconds to another player, and Self-Heal will restore 5 HP every 1 second to yourself. However, there are some important things to know. First of all, medics cannot heal other medics, but they can give overheal to teammates, except for security guards who already have it, and like I said earlier, medics. Another thing to note is self-heal animation cannot be cancelled, so if you use it at the wrong time, you're stuck. So just be mindful when you're using it and make sure you're in a safe area where the killer is not nearby before you try to heal yourself. One more detail. When healing others, the final little tick of the healing bar at the bottom does not actually heal anything, so you can cancel it early to save time, which is just a useful thing to know. Now moving on to the third role of the game, which is another one of my personal favorite roles, the security guard. Now, security guards have 100 base HP, but they do start with 25 overheal, so technically they have 125 health total. So they're naturally tankier than other roles, but your real strength isn't your health, it's the information you can put out. Now security guards have two abilities, Taser and Camera. Taser lets you charge up a shot and fire it at the animatronic. It always applies slowness and, depending on the charge, can add effects in this order, which are dazed, confusion, and silence. So a quick shot can help you escape, but a fully charged one can completely mess up the killer's ability to fight back. Then you have the cameras. This lets you look around the map and track important things like the killer and objectives. You can also ping these for your team, which makes coordination much easier. And here's a very important tip. If you're playing against the doppelganger, aka Ennard, they will not appear as a survivor on the cameras when disguised. So if you feel that something's off, trust your instincts and warn your team that this person is the doppelganger. And finally, we have the fighter. Now, this role has the highest base HP at 110, making it the most durable role in the game, not including security guards overheal. Now, this is your main defensive role. This is the only role that can actually fight back against the animatronic. And their two main abilities are parry and swing, and they do work hand in hand with each other. Now, you start with one swing charge, and you cannot use swing if you have 0 charges, so always try to keep in mind how many charges you actually have of your swing. Parry is how you build these charges. If you time it correctly, you can stun the killer for 2 seconds and gain 1 charge. Then you can use swing. Swing lunges forward and stuns the killer for 3 seconds, adding effects depending on how many charges you have. Slowness, blindness, deafens, and confusion. Charges can go up to 3 and max out at 3. So a fully charged fighter can be very strong, but here's the catch. Most experienced animatronics will try to bait your parry. They'll fake attacks, wait for you to react, and punish you when you miss. So try not to spam it and be careful to time it properly. Also, don't be that fighter that hides all game. You have the most health for a reason. Your team needs you, and you should always be there to help out your team. So, if we simplify everything, customer survives, medics keep the team alive, security guards give information, and fighter protects everyone. If your team has a great balance of these, you're already in a strong position. But now that you understand the roles, let's talk about what actually wins you the game, which are the objectives. Now there are 2 main objective types, generators and batteries. So, generators are the most common objective. When you interact with one, you'll complete a short puzzle, connect 4 wires, switch on the lights, and finally pull the ripcord. Each time you finish this, you will add 1 charge to the generator. Generators need 4 charges total, and the progress does save. So you can leave one and come back later without losing any progress. And honestly, generators can be done in like 30 seconds solo, but it is always better to work on them with another person because you will get it done much faster. Also, make sure you're being aware of your surroundings. The puzzle does take up a very large part of your screen, which obviously limits your vision. And against killers like Mimic or Ennard, that is exactly what they want you to do. So don't tunnel vision on the generator and make sure that you're always staying aware. Another thing I forgot to mention when it comes to objectives, or more specifically generators, is that the doppelganger can actually fake these objectives. All he has to do is walk up to it while he's shapeshifted or transformed, skin stolen, whatever you want to call it. All he has to do is walk up to a generator and he can pretend to fix the generator. Now, he won't actually be fixing it, but it will just play the animation as if he was repairing it. So keep your eye out, because you never know if the person next to you, who you believe is helping you, is actually plotting to kill you. Now, the other objective that you can have, which are batteries. Now, batteries are much simpler, but are much more dangerous. Now, first of all, they can't be tracked by security guard cameras, and they are spread out across the map, which can make them a little harder to find, but not impossible. Now, when you pick one up, you'll find a fuse box highlighted in red on the map. Your job is to carry that battery there and insert it. But here's the problem. When you're holding a battery, you can't sprint, and you can't use your abilities. You are completely vulnerable, so if the killer finds you, your chances of escaping are pretty low. However, if you are carrying a battery, you can press X on your keyboard or whatever the button is on a controller to drop the battery, which will then allow you to run, use your abilities, whatever. Now, when you reach the fuse box, you do have to hold interact to insert it. This does take some time, so if you do get interrupted, you'll have to start all over, which means timing is everything. Only go for batteries when you know it's safe. Now that you understand the roles and the objectives, let's talk about something that actually decides whether you live or not, the animatronics. Because it's one thing to know what they do, and another thing to actually survive against them. So, here's how you should be playing depending on who you're up against and the map you're on. Starting with the Rod, aka Springtrap. Now, Springtrap is all about control. Traps, pressure, and punishing mistakes. If you're not paying attention, this is the killer that will catch you slipping the fastest. First thing, watch where you're walking. His bear traps will stun you for 8 seconds, which is a very long time, and disarming them also takes around 8 seconds, and you cannot cancel that animation, so if you mess up, you're stuck. Never run blindly through tight areas or doorways. Make sure you take a second to check your path. Next, don't get comfortable during objectives. Springtrap's axe throw and scream can interrupt you easily. If you feel like something's off or he's nearby, maybe try to leave or hide if you can. When you're going against a Mimic, the customer should always use their speed wisely to avoid getting caught alone. Medics should stick near teammates. Stealth punishes solo players very hard, so try not to be alone. Security guards should constantly check cameras and call out movement. Keeping track of the Mimic, especially when he's in stealth mode or drilling on the ground, is the most important thing a security guard can do. And lastly, the fighters need to be very patient. A missed parry against the Mimic can always end badly, so don't rush it. Play smart and stay aware. Now, let's talk about the final animatronic in the game, the Doppelganger, aka Ennard. It can spawn minions that will attach to you. Make sure to shake your screen to get them off, and don't stay near them too long because they do explode afterwards, which can deal a little bit of damage. It can also shapeshift into the last survivor it killed, which means you can't always trust what you see. And while it's disguised, it can lunge towards you to stab you, dealing a butt ton of damage, and explode for dealing more damage, and also hitting you with a stun. So, you might be wondering, what do I do against that? Pay attention to your team. If someone's acting weird, not helping, even like moving strangely, be careful. Security guards are some of the most important roles when going against an Ennard, because the cameras can expose the disguised Ennard. Medics should always be cautious when approaching injured teammates. Customers need to stay alert and not blindly trust everyone, and fighters, they need to not rush unless they're sure who they're dealing with, because if they guess wrong when they try to attack them, they're gonna get punished for that. So, some final survivor tips. No matter who you're facing, these roles will keep you alive longer. Don't panic. Most players will lose fights before they even start because they panic and make bad decisions. Make sure you stay aware and always know what's happening around you. If something feels off, it probably is. And most importantly, make sure you play for your team, because the better a team plays together, the more likely they are to win, and the harder it is for killers to get any kills. Once you start thinking like this, you're not just reacting anymore. You're predicting what's going to happen next, and that's when the game actually starts to feel easier and a lot more fun. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that is everything you need to know when it comes to playing Survivor in Bite by Night. Now, if you feel there's anything that I might have left out, make sure to leave it down in the comments below. And also, if you want to see any more guides or Bite by Night content, also make sure to let me know, and I will definitely make future videos on both guides and just Bite by Night in general, and obviously other games too, but for now, we're sticking in Bite by Night considering it is just a very fun game. I also hope that you're able to take these tips and have a whole better experience when you're playing the game for yourselves, whether you're playing as a survivor or playing as a killer. And speaking of killer, make sure to keep your eyes out for the next video coming out, because I will be going over and covering how to play all of the animatronics in Byte by Night and some of the things you can do to secure the full server wipe. But until then, I'm Lavender Crown, and I'm out of here.